recording this before heading out on the weekend. This is January 17th. Streamlabs, hell of an update you got there. What were you thinking? None of you were thinking with this update that you just rolled out. 1.220.4? Yeah. Kiss my ass. I wish I could revert it back. No need for me to log in just to record this silly little podcast. That being said, on top of that mistake that apparently Streamlabs decided to do Wizards of the Coast on this is the weekend of Lorwyn pre-release, and as you can tell from my background, pre-release ain't happening. I'm almost ready to move in 2.5 weeks now. At this point, things are in place. My trip back to Jersey is confirmed and booked. My U-Haul pod or whatever, the storage pod that I load all my stuff in, confirmed. Now I just have a handful of boxes left over, and we're good. That being said, Lorwyn pre-release weekend is going down, and it's fun. It's a super awesome set from what I've seen, from what I've watched Loading Ready Run play, the pre-release. I watched them do the collector booster draft that they did for Friday Night Paper Fight on the 16th. I've seen streamers. I've watched some Jim Davis stuff. I've watched Amazonian playing Brawl with it, and I've watched a fair bit of Lorwyn, whereas when it came to Avatar, I really just watched the pre-release and was like, okay, they nailed it. And the Spider-Man set I watched zero of. Spider-Man literally killed me playing this game for a while. But the Turtle set inadvertently ninja'd its way into the Lorwyn pre-release. What has been happening is people that have been opening their packs, their pre-release packs, it didn't contain the usual promos. Instead, it contained cards from the TMNT set, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set, which is coming out in like 2 months, if that, maybe 6 weeks. And it's not an isolated incident. You know, sometimes these things happen. No, 35 cards have been accidentally spoiled. 35 cards have been accidentally spoiled from the set because they were in the promo packs for Lorwyn release. And I kind of thought this was like an isolated incident until I saw a Discord chat from a store that I used to play at that I'm still friends with. And the owners even said, Wizards has a plan for us in place in case you do, in fact, open up a TMNT card in your Lorwyn set. And I'm like, oh my God, this is bigger than I thought. It is massive. And I'll be honest, I think this has to be a wake-up call for Wizards of the Coast. Quality assurance, because it's clearly not able to handle the dearth of content that they're releasing this year. Remember, this is the first of 7 sets coming out this year. That's not even that's like every 6 weeks a new Magic the Gathering set happens. They've already done spoiler season for this set and other sets this year. And seriously, Lorwyn, which I still feel is getting the short end of the stick here, it's got 4 days of spoiler season. Turtles, they had the Commander Precon spoiled a little bit. That was their little mini spoiler season. And now they're having another inadvertent spoiler season, as cards are literally in the wrong set. Which is also not the first time this has happened to Magic the Gathering, I might add. Printing issues and distribution errors? Please, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, they're on top of this. No, they're not. I remember Corpse Knight, okay? If you weren't there, you weren't there. Corpse Knight was printed with the wrong power and toughness. For pre-release weekend only. A lot of people thought they had a special unique card, and it's like, no, you don't have an error. You have what's common. It's just they screwed up the first batch of printings. So yeah, you're not unique. You do not have a unique misprint error. Everyone got it. Oh man. On top, so this is what a way to what a way for Wizards to kick off 2026 by doing the most Wizards thing possible and putting TMNT cards in the promo pre-release kits for Lorwyn Eclipsed. I needed to say that real quick before I forget. I'm about to shoot out, hang out with a couple of people and whatnot. But yeah, like Streamlabs, I don't know why I have to log in. Everything's just to hit record. I don't stream. I just use this as an easier way to record. If you want me to not use this as an easier way, I will be glad when I get to Jersey to set up a new camera. Hell, even set up my cell phone and record off Audacity like I used to do. Because personally speaking, the content when I used to do that looked a lot better. But cranking these out as a one-man army, kind of not really, kind of not really feeling it. You know, that's why I do this, so I don't have to edit in all these little doodads. It's not that bad, but do that every week where I sync audio up. It's bad, but yeah, be better. And also, Wizards of the Coast. I hope this isn't a prelude of things to come this year. With quality assurance being this bad, we are talking 35 different cards that weren't yet announced. And I know that it's their next big spoiler season, and I know they have big plans for it. Those 35 content creators or 35 ideas from content creators that were doing videos, because they probably have already been told, hey, you're getting this card. If you want a bit of a lead time to get a script written and whatnot, yeah, and you know for a fact there's some content creators that'd be like, oh, that was my spoiler season card. There goes that video. It happened to Prof. It happened to Solarian Community College. It happened to him. Not through this means, but it got spoiled. Back when spoiler season was a little bit more important and we're not in the perpetual cycle of spoiler season. That being said, we're kicking it back to me a few days in the future for, I think, what is the last podcast in North Carolina? Wow, that was really weird to say. Oh boy, not only is my room getting way more involved in the packing, insert stupid cell phone camera footage here of the room in its current state. This Lorwyn Eclipsed pre-release weekend has inadvertently turned into the official start of TMNT spoiler season. It's only getting worse. At this point, by the time the stores close today, which is January 18th, about 2 days before I do the podcast, because I just need to get this off my chest, and once again, like I did the other time, there's a bold prediction that the entire rare and mythic rares will be spoiled for the TMNT stuff. And early indications are looking not good for the set itself. There's been a lot of spoilers. Let's go into it. Hi, Editing Dom here. You're going to notice this audio is probably messed up either on here or it could be messed up here on this video. It's also going to be messed up for the rest of the video because apparently also the update that Streamlabs did recently messed all that up as well on me. I apologize in advance. I just started noticing it. More than likely, if it sounds good on this recording, that means for some reason it overrode this mic and did the webcam mic, which is absolute garbage. Nothing I can do about that. I apparently thought about doing this, but I talk about these cards for about the next 47 minutes. I didn't have the heart to redo that all. My apologies. Moving sucks. Yeah, almost every rare has been revealed already in the set. This is just yesterday's leak, okay? And there was another day before it. Some of the names are dumb, I might add. The 53 rares and mythics that were leaked yesterday, like on the 17th, Don't know how many more were leaked today due to a pre-release printing error, so many different things had to fail at the printer. Not only did they print Lorwyn, but when they went to print the pre-releases, they were also printing the Turtle set. Because remember, these sets are done. It takes years for a set to be completed. The Lorwyn and TMNT set, even though Lorwyn has already been was delayed already, have been started like 2-3 years ago, if not maybe even longer in pre-production. But when it comes to production of the set, it's usually about 6 months before the set officially comes out that printing starts. On average, this is very layman's, very basic bones explanation here. But what happened is now, as I said, they're printing so many sets so fast that multiple sets are being printed at the same time, and we're not even counting secret layers. So whatever plant was responsible for the printing of the Lorwyn cards and the TMNT cards made a big oopsie whoopsie. I made a wuxie because holy your entire set of rares and mythics have been revealed. And we'll just go through some of them right now. I will eventually record a screen cap of this as well because honestly I can't be... There was an update yesterday to Streamlabs, and I used that to record the podcast to make my life easier, so I'm not editing video, audio, and another audio at the same time and doing all that. And it undid a lot of things. So, like, I think the camera looks better now, but I'm going to adjust it again. But either way, we have Triceraton Commander for double X white, a creature dinosaur soldier. It's a mythic for a 2/2, flying. When this creature attacks, dinosaurs you control other than this creature get +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. When this creature enters, create X 2/2 white dinosaur creature tokens with the flavor text for the glory of the Republic. Look, Turtles is a childhood thing for me. I started with the black and white, stuff that I shouldn't have been reading at that age. So I don't know what that reference is. Leader's Talent. Okay, we have another talent for 1 and a white. Gains the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. When it first enters, whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. For 2 and a white, gets level 2. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had a counter on it, you gain 2 life. And for 3 and a white, level 3, whenever you cast a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Okay, so it's a rare, but I don't see it seeing play in my main +1/+1 counters deck, to be perfectly honest with you. Leonardo, the Cutting Edge for 1 and a white, legendary creature, mutant ninja turtle. I feel there's a flavor. There's going to be some people who are not going to get the flavor profiles of the turtles, and they think like Leonardo should be a blue and Donatello should be a dual color of red-blue. Michelangelo should be red. Leonardo, once again, blue. Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael should be red, I mean. It's not how... It doesn't translate that well to a Magic card because white is usually what Leonardo would be, because white is like leadership and pride and all that other stuff, and like being a leader. White is definitely the leader color. Red makes sense for Raphael. That's anger. That's blunt face. Purple for Leonardo would be, I guess, red-blue, but is it? And it's Leonardo. I mean Donatello. Donatello would be blue because Donatello messes with artifacts, but that's what blue does a lot. And Mikey being green. Maybe foods. But yeah, Cutting Edge. Anyway, Sneak. You may cast a spell for a white if you also return an unblocked attacker you control to your hand during the declare blocker step. He enters tapped and attacking. Lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Leonardo. This easily should have just said Ninjutsu. Why are we creating more for whenever functional reprints of these cards have to be done because you will have the license lost? it doesn't make any sense to me to invent the third different version of Ninjutsu in a couple of years. And mind you, Ninjutsu is a terrible mechanic to begin with. I absolutely despise Ninjutsu. If you roll up a commander with the main commander Ninjutsu, I think Yuriko, I will try to eliminate you as fast as humanly possible. And when that fails, I peace out. I just literally stop. I don't stop playing the game, but I have resigned myself to wanting a quick defeat so I can go to the next pod. Leonardo's technique for 3 and a white, sorcery with sneak 1 and a white. Return 1 or 2 target creature cards, each with mana of 3 or less, from your graveyard to the battlefield. Once again, that's more rares. The rares, all these cards are rares and or mythics. I'll let you know if it's a mythic. If I don't say it's a mythic, it's a rare. Prehistoric Pet for a white, creature Dinosaur Ninja for a 1/2. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. 1 and a white and tap it. Return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. Activate only during your turn. Okay, yeah, that exists. Sally Pride Lioness Leader for 3 and 2 white for a legendary creature, Cat Mutant Rebel. Hey, my cat token lovers are going to love this card. When Sally Pride enters, create X 2/2 red mutant creature tokens, where X is the number of non-token creatures you control. Whenever Sally Pride attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This I can see making it into my Titus +1/+1 counters deck for Final Fantasy, but also I could see this being a key piece for the eventual redo of Arabo that I'd have. Because I had an Arabo commander deck a while ago, like years ago, and I just never got around to like rebuilding it after I took it apart. And as I predicted, Donatello definitely in the blue. The horrific picture, so I cannot see the mana value of Donatello Mutant Mechanic. For a legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Turtle, it is a mythic. For a 3/5. So I'm going to guess 3 and a blue, or 3 and 2 blue. Just for that power and toughness. Tap it to put 3 +1/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot creature in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. Whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from a battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target artifact or creature you control. There's some decks out there that will like that particular card, I'll be honest. Another horrible picture, but I think that's Mondi Gecko for 1 and 2 blue. For a legendary creature, Lizard Mutant for a 2/3. Discard a card. Until end of turn, Mondo Gecko becomes the color of your choice and gains hexproof from that color. Whenever Mondo Gecko deals combat damage to a player, draw a card for each color among permanents you control. All right, so far the first 2 blue cards revealed, they are the mythics as well, are kind of fire for blue. It definitely does what blue wants to do. All right, so go figure. My Nano, my Blue Yeti is finally, I think, the bed. Before we get any further, I forgot to say the website's name that I got all these images from and the video, obviously. It's cardgamebase.com, and the article was the /MTG-TMNT-spoilers-leaks-news. And we're going to look at Turtles in Time, which was released after I recorded this podcast a little bit, for 5 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Return all creatures to their owner's hands. Each player may shuffle their hand and graveyard into their library, and each player who does draws 7 cards. Exile Turtles in Time. Once again, this is a commander card being printed in Standard for some reason. Rennet Temporal Apprentice for 3 and 2 blue. For a legendary creature, Human Wizard for a 4/3. Flash. Whenever Rennet enters, return each other non-land permanent that entered this turn to its owner's hand. Why are we printing commander cards in Standard is beyond me. That is literally a blue commander card. Like, that is a blue anti-token hate commander card. And it's going to be in Standard. Because I don't see this card seeing much play in Standard because tokens are not that crazy of a thing. This is the type of card that you play when somebody casts like an Ink Shield or an Inkwell or a Goblins player. When I pop off playing Zada and I have 100 Goblins enter the field at the same time, You flash in, rent it, and then it returns each other non-land permanent that entered to the owner's hand, and because they're all tokens, they just immediately die. They just immediately fade out of existence. They get Avengers blooped out of existence. So it's going to be in standard. It's not going to see any play. Yeah, pass. I hate the name of this card. I seriously hate the name of this card. What are we doing? For 1 and a blue, for an enchantment class, the card name is Does Machines. Am I missing the reference? Leave it in the comments if I'm missing a reference. But Does Machines? You couldn't fit Donatello Does Machines? Does Debbie Does Machines? Do I do machines? Does machines dream? Do machines dream of electric sheep? I have no mouth, I must machine. Anyway, first level, when this class enters, mill 2 cards, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. For 1 and a blue, it becomes level 2. When this class becomes level 2, return up to 2 target artifact cards from your graveyard to your hand. And then for 4 and a blue, level 3, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 3+1/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot creature in addition to its other types. Okay, we're doing the Tezzeret type of thing. Kitsune, Dragon's Daughter, for 4 and 2 blue, for a Fox Warlock Avatar 6/6. Vigilance. This screams like a welcome deck to me. No, that's an actual set. That's an actual card in standard that will never see play because of its mana cost, I predict. Whenever it enters or deals combat damage to a player, you may exchange control of 2 other target creatures controlled by different players. Once again, not going to see standard play, but this is a commander card. This is the type of bullshit we're talking about here when it comes to printing not just Universes Beyond, but like focusing on Commander. The reason why the 3 sets in Standard and then the 3 other sets in Modern or whatevers worked is because you could print those Commander cards in the Modern or whatever sets and not affect Standard and not have Standard be polluted with like 40 cards that aren't even worth the cardboard that they're printed on for the format they were printed for. This being one of them. Kitsune, Dragon's Daughter, is a commander card through and through. Then Kitsune's Technique, 4 and 2 blue, and I'm probably saying that name wrong. Instant. It also has Sneak, which is a weird thing. I guess that's why they didn't want to print. I guess that's why Nijitsu wasn't a thing, because there are spells that now have Sneak. So you may cast this for 1 and a blue if you also return an unblocked attacker you control to the hand during declare blocker steps. Target opponent mills half their library rounded up. This is why I hate Nijitsu, because of bullshit like this. And it's target opponent. So there are some decks that, once again, that I would have loved to put this card in because I love having my cards in the graveyard. But now you're forcing me to choose an opponent. Yeah. So now I also have to worry about combat. Like, also, mill is a type of way to win. Especially when you get cards easily printed because you don't have enough blockers and your opponent gets to mill your library. Half of it. Half of your library in standard. Speaking of which, I'm probably going to make a standard mill deck now with these. Donatello Gadget Master for 2 and a blue. Legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Turtle. Sneak for 1 and a blue. Whenever Donatello deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. That's not too bad. That's not too bad of a card. It might... I can see that being played way better than the Kitsune's cards. The Cloning of Shredder, 4 and 2 black for a saga. Okay, my Tom Bombadil deck really wanted to play some sagas in the Final Fantasy set. And I'm still experimenting with some of the creature sagas, but I don't know if many of them have been worth it. Maybe Knights of the Round. Anyway, first step, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary, and it's a mutant in addition to its other types. I like it already. All right, we have a winner here for the first Black Mythic saga. And then steps 2 and 3, create a token that's a copy of a card exile with the saga, except it isn't legendary, it's a mutant. Ooh, I love me some Cloning of Shredder. Yes, it's a commander card. Yes, it'll fit perfectly in with Tom Bombadil. it'll fit definitely in my Tom Bombadil deck. I'm looking for one. I don't know when the demons came in whatever Turtles lore. Anyway, Madam Null, Power Broker for 2 and a black for a legendary creature, Demon Advisor, for a 1/3 with Death Touch. Whenever another creature you control enters, you may pay life equal to its power. If you do, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. I can see this being a very aggressive card. And in certain shells and standard, I can see it being really good. Once again, another name I just cannot get behind and actually hate. Like, I'm serious. I hate the name of this card. And I just saw the name and nothing else. I know it's a class. Ninja Teen. Hunger Force for 2 and a black. Level 1, when a creature you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. For 1 and a black, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have menace. And then level 3 for a black. Creature cards in your graveyard have sneak 3 and a black. You may cast creature spells from your graveyard using their sneak abilities. You had me until the last step, not going to lie. Now, mind you, I like the first step because, once again, it's like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th copy of Blight Priest or Epicure. The things that, like, whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. It's like the 5th, 6th, and 7th version of that card, which sometimes I will run, depending on the deck. But you lose me on the last step, especially being for 1 black. It's like a descending order this time. It's like 3 to bring the card out, 2 to get to level 2, and then 1 to get to level 3. Whereas I feel it should be reversed. But, this is what happens when you make 2,000 cards a year and you can barely even keep up with production of said cards. Rat King Vermister for 1 and a black for legendary creature, Rat Avatar. Just saw Rat Avatar. It's going to deal with, I'm going to guess and not look at the screen, it's going to get an additional +1/+0 for each rat or some BS like that. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, create a 1/1 black rat creature token and put a +1/+1 counter on Rat King. Congratulations, you didn't do the typical rat. Tap to sack 3 rats, return target creature card and all other cards with the same name as that card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, cool. This is going to be a very powerful effect in Standard. This might bring Rakdos Sacrifice back in Standard at some point because this is a very powerful ability. We did Disappear. We could have just done Descend from Lost Caverns. Don't know why. We're making new names for the same BS. But I do like it. Now, that being said, it's a standard card because it's a return target creature and all other cards with the same name as that card from your graveyard. So this is a standard, not a commander player. I'm not really going to see a lot of commander play for that second ability, but that first ability, yeah, I can see that. Armagon, Future Shark for 6 and 2 black. Flash for a Shark Horror Mutant for a 9/6. When it enters, destroy up to 3 target creatures. I want to say bulk, but cards like this sneakily get through, and with the massive amount of cards in Standard, I don't know if there's any really cheap graveyard recursions for creatures, because it definitely says when it enters, not when it casts from hand. So the play with this is discard it on turn 1, and then by turn 3, bring it out on the field. Savantini Romero, Time Something Exile, once again a horrible picture, for 3 and 2 black for a Demon Wizard 4/4 with Trample. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Savantini Romero. Then you may draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of counters on Savantini Romero. Okay, I can see that almost being a commander's type of creature as well. Shark Shredder, Killer Clone for 2 and 2 black. For a legendary creature, Shark Octopus Ninja for a 4/4 with Sneak 3 and 2 black. First strike. When Shark Shredder deals combat damage to a player, put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It enters tapped and attacking. Now, this is one of the cards I saw some discussion about. How does it enter tapped and attacking if it's already attacking? It's got first strike. So what happens in combat is any creature, say I attack with 5 creatures and one of them has first strike. That deals the damage first. Combat has not been resolved yet. Damage has not been resolved yet. So what will happen is, boom, that I do that ability with Shark Shredder. I grab a creature card if you have one from your graveyard because I'm attacking you and I've done damage to you. Now we start the second phase of combat. Like after first strike, damage has been dealt. Then we deal with regular damage, like non-first strike damage. So then that's how that would happen. That's not the technical explanation for it, but that's like how I would explain it at the table. Southwind Avatar for 3 and a black for a creature. Snake Spirit Avatar for a 3/4 with Death Touch. When another creature you control dies, you gain life equal to its toughness. When you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. See, I don't know if that extra first line, whenever target creature you control dies, you gain life equal to its toughness, justifies a little bit more expensive version of a Marauding Blight Priest. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Blood Artist, the Blood Artist type of effects. I don't know if this would make it into my 99, to be honest, with certain decks. I'm going to guess this one says Splinter's Technique because, once again, it's not only a horrible picture, no offense, like even I take horrible, like it's really hard to take a horrible picture. It's really hard to take good pictures of the foil card sometimes, especially at a card store. But it also looks like this particular card is pringled out the wazoo already. It's got a nice curve to it, you know. I think the kids call it thickness today. Apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. Sneak for 1 and a black when you may cast a spell, once again, with an unblocked creature. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, and then shuffle. Oh, baby, give me 4 of these. That is a tutor. And that's a kind of a good tutor, too, especially if you can cast it for the cheap. It is a sorcery, but the sneak makes it I don't know the legality of that, but I think the sneak would make it an instant because it you kind of has an alternate casting cost and I guess timing cost too with it. That being said, though, even at 4 mana, we don't get many just basic search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, then shuffle. Sometimes we get like stuff printed like that in standard with extra steps, making it virtually unplayable in standard, but once again, commander players are going to love it. I think this is Raphael. Yeah, Raphael the Destroyer. Legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Turtle, and judging from the artwork, it's a recent cartoon adaptation. For undetermined amount of mana, because they didn't take it out of the... this particular player did not take the card out of the plastic wrap from the pre-release kit. So it's some amount of red. I want to say 2 and 2 red. Anyway, Raphael must be blocked if able. Whenever Raphael is dealt damage, add that much red until end of turn. You don't lose this mana, has steps, and phases end. I don't like this. That's not Raphael. I'm going to be honest. Like, in the base set, that is not Raphael. It would be a double damage. It would be either double strike or double strike trample, but it's like a 1/1 with like prowess or something, even though they would have done that. Or like, just every creature that blocks it, it gets +1/+1. It gets bigger the more angrier he gets, the more bold he gets. But then, you could just add, like, if it has more than 4 +1/+1 counters on it, remove all +1/+1 counters, destroy target creature. Like, I know that's breaking color pie type stuff, but that to me is like a Raphael. I don't think they nailed the Raphael flavor with that particular card. Broadcast Takeover 2 and 3 red for a sorcery. Gain control of all artifacts your opponents control until end of turn. Untap them. They gain haste until end of turn. That is exceptionally powerful in Commander. But once again, this is a standard set. So that is exceptionally powerful in Commander. I mean, not tokens, but because at that point, if you take all 30 of my treasure tokens, I'm gonna because especially because it's a sorcery, I'm gonna respond with sacrificing all my tokens, all my treasure tokens. Slash Reptile Rampager 3 and 2 red for a Mutant Berserker Turtle, which is a 7/5. Alliance, whenever another creature you control enters, Slash deals 2 damage to each opponent. Whenever Slash attacks, create a 2/2 red mutant creature token. I like this card in a red aggro package. I like this card in a red token package. I like this card for my Zergo deck. I like this card for my Zada deck as well. I like this card for my Kaikar deck as well. So this is a good card. Casey Jones Vigilante for 1 and 2 red. For a 4/3 human berserker. When Casey Jones enters, draw 3 cards. At the beginning of your next upkeep, discard 3 cards at random. Gungala is the flavor text. See, once again, missing the flavor here. Unless I am missing something. Last time I checked, and even on the card, Casey Jones loves weapons. Casey Jones loves baseball bats. Casey Jones loves hockey sticks and all that other weird sports-related equipment. Anyway. Yes, Casey Jones should have been an equipment creature. Like something that wants equipment, not drawing cards. Okay, so one Raphael might not have been... Okay, I accidentally sneak peeked. I think the more expensive Raphael is the one. Ravenous Robots for 1 and a red. Blurry picture, but once again, like your LGS is not going to have the ultimate great lighting for these things. For 2/1, okay, robot. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature token. And then for red and tap it, creature tokens you control gain hastens on turn. Hello, baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ravenous robots. Because that card right there is a certified banger to me. I love my tokens. I love artifacts. I have a couple decks, like Tarland would love this card, but it's mono blue. But, decks that make, like, simple tokens, creatures. Yeah, like... I mean, I could see me making a weird timeless deck or historic, depending on what is legal, as Cheerios with this. 4 copies of this, and it's just a bunch of... Pardon me. Dinner just came through. I could see this in a... Whatchamacallit? A Cheerios, where it's like a lot of 0-drop spells, like some of the equipment and ornithopters and whatnot. Now the card that I accidentally looked at. Raphael the Night Watcher for 2 and 2 red for a Mutant Ninja Turtle 2/3. Sneak 1 double red. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. That is Raphael right there. Perfect design for Raphael. Got it. Once again, I just saw the name of the saga and I hate it. I hate all the saga names, if you haven't been able to figure that out. Cool, but rude. For 1 and a red, whenever you attack, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. For 1 and a red, it gains level 2. Whenever you discard a card, this class deals 2 damage to each opponent. I know certain discard decks are going to like this one. If I ever build Anji again, it's going in. And then for my... I got a big complaint about level 3 only being 1 and a red. When this class becomes level 3, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, shuffle, then discard a card at random. I don't like the fact that it's 1 in a red for the level 3 and 1 in a red for level 2. Once again, just as I had a problem with the 3-2-1, it should be more expensive for the level 3. Because you are pie breaking adjacent with that third ability. Improvised Arsenal for 1 in a red. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. And then for 4 in a red, create a token that's a copy of this equipment with an equip cost of red. Using, I might add, Casey Jones's stuff. And maybe even a quote from Casey Jones as well, but the glare takes away the whoever said it in the... Probably, it's Casey Jones. I can already tell. I don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. But, he's got an equipment bag, but the character itself in the game doesn't have equip. Michelangelo the Improviser for 3 and a green for a legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Turtle. And the picture is so bad I can't tell you the power and toughness. Either way.
Sorry. When the original card was displayed on this website, it looked very bad. Once again, I've said time and time again, it's very hard to get a good picture of a foil card in your local gaming store because they are not generally set up to take the best pictures with the lighting involved. That being said, though, I think I was pretty correct on the card itself.
It's got Sneak, 2 and 2 green. Whenever Michelangelo deals combat damage to a player, you may put a creature card and a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. And or a land card from your hand to the battlefield. What? Why? Who approved this? And that's a standard card. Because that's the standard symbol. That's not the commander symbol. Michelangelo, weirdness to 11 for 1 and a green. For a 1/1. When it enters, create a mutagen token. It's the thing that created all the turtles and all their enemies and whatnot, like Bebop, Rocksteady, that type of thing. It's an artifact with 1 and tap. Sack this token. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. I like mutagen tokens. That's the first new unique token they've done that hasn't been a derivative of another token, if I'm not mistaken. Treasure tokens were gold. They've done clue tokens, they've done blood tokens. Blood tokens were like a derivative of a clue token, technically. This is actually a pretty cool token. Lander tokens, I keep forgetting about Lander tokens. I was not there for Edge of Eternities, even though it's a great, fantastic set when I started seeing the cards and watching people play and drafting it. Fantastic set. I forgot Lander tokens. So when it comes to them making tokens, designing cards that make tokens, the tokens that they're designing are actually really good now. I'll give it credit. Mutagen Man Living Ooze for X and 2 green. For a legendary creature, Ooze Mutant for 2/3. Trample. Activated abilities of artifacts you control cost 1 less to activate. When Mutagen Man enters, create X Mutagen tokens. Okay. And completing the 5 colors at least. Classes that I hate the names of. Party Dude. Am I a party dude or are you a party dude? Is it party all the time? Party all the time? Party all the time. When it enters, each player creates a food token. It's going in Greta Whole Foods, baby. For 1 and a green, for level 2, when an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. Good ability. For 4 and a green, appropriately casted. For level 3, whenever 1 or more of your opponents are attacked, up to 1 target attacking creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. See, Party Dude is probably the best class out of the Wooburg colors so far. It's probably the best class that we've seen in the set. It's probably the most themed, the most on flavor of green, and the most on flavor of turtles as well. Like, I like this card. It's probably my favorite card of the set so far that we've done the accidental review preview of. Transdimensional Bovine for 2 and a green. For an Ox Avatar. Okay. For an 0/4, flying, add tap to add 2 mana of any one color. Not only will this see play in certain standard decks, you'll see this being played in certain commander decks. The basis of a good mana sink, mana ramp, that isn't a land or a spell. If it's a creature, if it's an artifact, for every 2 mana that you use to cast that spell, you at least want to generate 1 mana. This is why Sol Ring gets so much hate, even though it's in every deck, and even though it's universal to the format. It's the only card of its type that breaks that norm that you can actually play and afford. I'm not talking about Black Lotuses or Moxes or anything like that. So, Arcane Signet costs 2 mana, gives you 1 mana when you tap it. Warren Power Stone costs 3, comes into play tap though. Tap it to add 2. There are other cards like Fire Mind's Vessel. Costs 4 to bring into the battlefield, but you can tap it to add 2. If it's a 6 cost artifact, like I think there was one that taps to add 3. If there was an 8, tap to add 4. Anytime you skewer that number ever so slightly, you get a really good card. So Transdimensional Bovine, I see almost every green deck in Commander wanting to play this. Hot take, I know, but yeah. Followed up by a card that is so isolated that I think it's only going to see play in turtle-based standard sets and the precon, or derivatives of the precon from the set. Turtle Power, 2 and a green, enchantment, flash. Turtles you control get +2/+2. You can see it's one of those cards that they really didn't do. They kind of stopped. They gave the rooms, how certain cards in Murders at Karlov Manor that use the room mechanic or cared about rooms also cared about enchantments. That type of design. This one, Turtle Power, is just designed for this set. Ground Chuck and Dirtbag for 4 and 2 green for an 8/8 Oxmole Mutant with Trample. Whenever you tap a land for a mana, add a green. All right. Ground Chuck and Dirtbag, you might be the one of the definite 5 best cards in this set so far. That's a powerful ability. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add an extra green. So every land you tap adds 2 mana. One of it has to be green, but if you're already playing mono green, you're ramping like a crazy mofo. Leatherhead Swamp Stalker for 2 and a green for a Crocodile Mutant Rogue 5/4. Trample, Leatherhead enters with a hexproof counter on her. Whenever Leatherhead deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a counter from her. When you do, destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. I think you want to keep the hexproof counter on her for most of the time. Unless there's a really vicious enchantment artifact just destroying you completely. And the final green card, before we get into duels, gold cards, if you will, Michelangelo's Technique for 4 and a green, with Sneak 3 and a green. Look at the top 8 cards of your library. Put up to 2 creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Well, welcome back.
Collective Company. The card you're thinking of is Collective Company. I cut the next minute out because I waffle. On thinking of the card, it's Collective Company.
So yeah, that green so far has more hits. Extra base hits, if you will. To take a baseball term of a sport I don't give a shit about. And now we're going to go into gold. Dark Leo and Shredder, a white and a black for a Mutant Ninja Turtle human. Word soup here, folks, with Sneak also white and a black for a 1/3. Attacking ninjas you control have Death Touch. Whenever Dark Leo and Shredder deal combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token. Then if you control 5 or more ninjas, that player loses half of their life rounded up. I can see this being an auto-include in the precon. Turtles deck, I forgot, it's a mythic as well. Whatever, most of these cards are garbage. That one I can see being an add-on to the Wooburg Turtles deck, the only commander deck coming out for this set. Northwind Avatar, I guess this was a reject from Avatar The Last Airbender. Two blue and a red, so 5 mana in total for a Dragon Spirit Avatar, which I think is a 5/5. Flying, when this creature enters, if you cast it, you may put a card you own from outside the game into your hand. How does this work in Commander? Good question. It don't. How does this work in Standard? Good question. Outside of the game is considered your sideboard. That's it. Don and Leo, Problem Solvers for 3 and Azorius or Azorius, so that means you can either spend 3 white, 3 blue, or 3 white, blue to cast this creature. Legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Turtle for a 4/6. Vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to one target artifact you control and up to one target creature you control. Then return them to the battlefield under their owner's control. So, the standard Azorius, blink, bounce, shenanigans. Don and Raph, Hard Science for 1, and once again, green, white. Is it or is it? Blue, red, blue, red. Mutant Ninja Turtle for a 2/4. Whenever Don and Raph attack, the next non-creature spell you cast this turn has affinity for artifacts. Okay, I can see that. Mikey and Don, Party Planners for 2, and Simic, one of either green or blue, for a Ninja Turtle Mutant 3/3, word 2, meaning any spell that targets that card only you need to spend 2 more generic to do it. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast mutant, ninja, or turtle spells from the top of your library. If you cast a creature spell this way, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So far, really good card. That's probably the best out of the gold cards right now that we've gone over. Ralph and Leo, Sibling Rivals. 1 and Boros, red or white. Mutant Ninja Turtle 2/4. Whenever Ralph and Leo attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap 1 or 2 target attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. That's going to be the best card so far. Extra combat steps always do crazy things, not just in Commander, but also in Standard. Considering that I think there's more than one card that has extra combat steps available to it in Standard, I think we're about to see some crazy extra combat shenanigans. Raph and Mikey, Troublemakers. Never seeing play from that cost, I think. 5 and Gruel, red, green. Mutant Ninja Turtle legendary creature 7/7 Trample Haste. Whenever Ralph and Mikey attack, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I don't see this card seeing any play whatsoever. Splinter Radical Rat for 1 white, black, Orzhov. For a legendary creature, Ninja Turtle Rat. Legendary creature, Mutant Ninja Rat. If an ability of a ninja you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. 1 in blue, target ninja can't be blocked this turn. I see this being its own separate commander. I see also this seeing play in Standard based upon the theme of a ninja deck, because there's plenty of ninjas in this set. I can see this seeing some play. I can also see this being an upgrade as well. An on-theme upgrade, if you will, to the Precon. Tokar and Razor, the Terrible Twos, for Rakdos, black-red or black-red. Turtle Wolf Mutant 3/2. This spell can't be countered. Menace. Whenever a player casts a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, Toka and Razor deal 3 damage to that player. Personally, my favorite card from a story that I've been told, it's a mythic. It is something I want to read, but I already know how things go down, and I think it's one of the best turtle stories they've ever done. Full stop. The Last Ronin. 4 green and black. I already know this is going in my Rutstein deck. It's a saga. Step 1, destroy all creatures. Step 2, mill 4 cards. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Step 3, when a creature you control attacks alone this turn, put a 3 +1/+1 counters on it. It gains trample, lifelink, indestructible until end of turn. Yeah, I can see that. Last Ronin is very mad. Krang and Shredder, 4 and Demir, blue, black. For a legendary creature, Ultram Human Ninja, 6/7. Whenever Krang and Shredder enter or attack, each opponent exiles a card from the exile cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Ouch. Disappear at the beginning of your end step. If a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, you may cast a card exile with Krang and Shredder without paying its mana cost. Once again, This it was called Descend. We didn't need Disappear. Could have just made it Descend, and it would have been fine. We do not need to repeat keywords. Wizards of the Coast, please. The Technodrome for 2 generic. We're now an artifact land. It's a mythic. For a 3/3 with Reach Trample. This creature can't attack or block unless its power is 6 or greater. Tap and sack another artifact, draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. Krang Ultom Warlord for 9 generic mana for a 9/9. Flying Trample, Indestructible Haste. Other artifact creatures you control have Flying Trample, Indestructible Haste. What about Annihilator? You made an Eldrazi-less Eldrazi. That's the other thing that I don't appreciate about the set now that all the spoilers, accidental spoilers have been coming out. It's just like, yeah, it's just like Recycle City here, folks. Like we literally, you can rename Krang Eldrazi Ultim Warlord or the Ultim Warlord Eldrazi, same thing. The Ooze for 2 generic, legendary artifact. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it leaves the battlefield, create a mutagen token for each +1/+1 counter on it. And then tap to exile a card from your graveyard, create a mutagen token. Okay. Turtle Van is 3 for a vehicle with a crew of, I think, 3 for a 4/4. Really bad picture. Once again, your LGS isn't set for lighting pictures. Whenever this vehicle attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature that crewed it this turn. Then, if that creature is a mutant, ninja, or turtle, double the amount of +1/+1 counters onto it. Oh, God. All right. Turtle Van's dope. Turtle Van is a really dope card. Weathermaker for 3. Landfall. Great, I need this for a landfall deck, doesn't matter. Whenever a land you control enters, put a charge counter on this artifact. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Definitely need this in my landfall deck now. Tap, remove 2 charge counters from this, add 2 generic mana to it. Or tap to remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. It deals 3 damage to any target. I like the mana ramp. I also like its landfall, and I just did Soul of Windgrace. Chrome Dome for 2 generic. For a 1/3 artifact creature robot ninja. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+0. 5. You can do this as many amount of times as you have mana to do it. Create a token that's a copy of another target artifact you control. That token gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of next end step. And then I think finally, from the cards that were revealed yesterday, Northampton Farm. It's a land. Tap to add 1 generic. 1 generic mana and tap it to exile target creature you own. 2 generic and tap it. Sacrifice this land. Return a creature card exiled with this land onto the battlefield under your control. Return each other card exiled with this land to its owner's hand. Okay, a weird workaround to get some ramp and creatures back in the battlefield, but we'll take what we can get. On top of the official spoilers, that are basically, the Turtles Forever, the Leonardo Sewer Samurai, April O'Neil Hacktivist, Krang Mastermind, Super Shredder, Casey Jones Jury Rig Justicar, which is the one that has the artifact in it. You can reveal an artifact from it, even though it should have been equipment. Raphael's Technique, Bebop and Rocksteady. It's also coming. This set's also coming in play boosters, collector boosters, and the 1 commander deck only, along with the bundle and the pizza bundle. That the pizza bundle is, I guess, the gift, the one with the collector booster and 2 promo cards. Also, the Turtle Team Up is a co-op Magic variant for 2 to 4 players. Draft Night is their new thing that's dropping in Lorwyn. But that is it. Also, I once again have a feeling that not many of these cards are going to see play in Standard. Is it Spider-Man bad? No. Is it probably worst set of the year? Yes, by far. Landslide so far. it might be up there with the Marvel set later on in the year as bad. But I was not expecting this to be an hour of me going over all of the cards that were accidentally spoiled this weekend at Lowwyn Eclipsed pre-releases because people were opening up the TMNT cards in the promo packs. My name is Dom Douglas. Thank you for watching on Max Heroes and Villains. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Do if I've entertained you for the last hour plus on these weird spoilers, because Wizards' quality assistance and quality control simply is a figment of our imaginations. And may your top deck always be mythic.